Alright, so here we are moving on to the second part, or I'm sorry, the third part of Module 3, which is going to be setting up Stripe, okay? Um, and in this module, these are the four things we're going to be doing. I'm going to show you where to set up your emails within Stripe. So we're going to use Stripe for handling email notifications. They do a really good job of that. Their emails are really nice. This is for like receipts or notifications to upcoming payments, or also refund notifications. So anything that's transaction focused. I'm using Stripe email system for doing that, um, just because again their emails look good, and it's simple that way. Branding, I'm going to show you how to do your branding for your emails and for your account, your Stripe account. I'm going to show you test account, although in the last video where we did a demo or walkthrough of Stripe, I did pretty much do everything from the test account. But I'll touch on that briefly, maybe a couple things that I missed in the demo or didn't go into. And then API keys, again, I think I showed you in the demo where to find your API keys, but we'll go into that a little bit further in this video. Again, the point of this video is to get Stripe, finish setting up Stripe so that you're ready to then create your products and your subscriptions and all that within Stripe, which is in the next video. And then we'll be ready to do the integration with WP Simple Pay into our actual plugin and website. All right, so let's go ahead and switch over now to Stripe. All right, so here we are again in Stripe. We are in my test, the test data again. For privacy purposes, I got a lot of customer information in here, so we're keeping that quiet and secure. So we're just going to be working from test, which is fine. One of the things that we're supposed to cover in this video is the test account. Now, the purpose for the test account is just that, for testing. So one of the really cool things about a lot of the solutions out there that integrate with Stripe, WP Simple Pay does this, Ninja Shop does this, which I think I mentioned in a previous video. But Ninja Shop, I'm having another course come out soon, more tutorials and stuff on Ninja Shop, which is a new e-commerce plugin. So if you need something more robust than WP Simple Pay, I'll just drop this little pin here. I am going to be talking a lot about Ninja Shop in the near future, in the next couple weeks, with tutorials and a program that's coming out with that. So again, that's going to just be for more robust sales of digital and physical products. It also can handle subscriptions and memberships and licensing, things like that. So I just want to drop that pin there on that one. But with this, again, the nice thing about having the test account is you've got two separate sets of API keys. You have your, let's go ahead and look at that right now. You have your test API keys, and if we turned off test, you'll see that you have live or production API keys. Now, the benefit to that is in WP Simple Pay, which we'll show you when we get to the integration, you have the ability to put in both sets of API keys and then to toggle between being test and live or test and production. So what you can do is you can set up Simple Pay. Once we get all the integration done, we're going to actually do this in a future video in this course. But once it's all set up, we're going to do a run through and actually use the test account here within our Stripe account to run test data and make sure that everything's working and we're collecting the right information and the processes are going through, so that we can actually make our site live and start actually taking payments without issue. So that's probably one of the most coolest aspects of Stripe, is this built-in test account. I don't know if you've ever tried to do a test with a test account with PayPal. PayPal calls it Sandbox. It's a nightmare. Like, it's very overcomplicated to set up a Sandbox account and then to integrate that Sandbox account. And a lot of things that integrate with PayPal, they don't provide you the ability to set up PayPal, your live and your Sandbox. So you just have to set up Sandbox and test it through, and then go through and then set up your integration to work with your actual PayPal account. PayPal is a great processor, and they do fine, and they're probably one of the best online for online processing and payments. But There are some things, and this is why I pretty much just use Stripe. Well, that's all I use now is Stripe for online processing because it just is so much simpler. It makes more sense. Um, I can get things done faster. So one thing out here under developer that we're not necessarily going to use, I don't think WP Simple Pay requires it. We'll know for sure once we get into integration. It's been a while since I set mine up. But webhooks, PayPal uses these. So if you're looking at integrating with PayPal for anything, I'll tell you what webhooks do. Basically, it tells Stripe where to send data back to. So, for example, with PayPal, if you're using a PayPal integration, once somebody runs a process from your website on a transaction, that data goes to PayPal. All the transaction actually happens in PayPal's gateway, and then once it's done, it can send through the webhooks or the endpoints. It's going to send data back to your website. So basically, for example, simplify this. If you're doing a membership site, you got to have a webhook, right? Because if you're using a payment process, you need that payment processor to process that, but then you need that data to come back to your website to say, hey, they've made their payment, they're in good standing. You can go ahead and give them access to whatever level membership they just purchased. And that's what the webhook does. It makes that connection between successful processing, successful payments, and the end result of what they're paying for. Sorry, let me jump back to my list. Emails, branding. Okay, so emails and branding. Let's go ahead and do that. So this is going to be under business settings. So we're going to go under business settings and we're going to go down to branding and customer emails. These two options right here. Let's start with branding because this is pretty much what's for us for emails. So this is just to show you what my branding currently looks like, which isn't branded at all correctly with my brand, but that's okay. This is just my test. So here in branding, you can put an icon, and this is what it looks like. So this is what your email receipts look like. This is what your hosted invoices look like. So if you send somebody an invoice, they click on a link, this is what that invoice page looks like, where they would check out. If you're using Stripe checkout option, which you can do, so it's kind of a newer feature. The ability to use Stripe directly for checkout as opposed to having to build your own checkout or to do an integration with something like WP Simple Pay. If you're not familiar with code and API, then you'll want to definitely use WP Simple Pay because they take care of all that. Really, all you have to do is connect your API keys and know how to set up your products and subscriptions in WP Simple Pay, which we're going to go over in another video. So this is actually the easiest way to do it is using WP Simple Pay. But again, they do have their own checkout, and this is what it would look like if you were using their checkout. So it's real easy. You can add your logo. If you add a logo, it's going to place it in these templates as well. Accent colors. So basically, you can change your colors here to whatever you want by using hex codes. It's not even a color, but anyway, you can do that. There we go. Make those changes and then you would save them. So again, branding, if you want to use your logo instead, you can check that box on here, and instead of showing this icon, it will show whatever you upload for your logo. Really easy to do. You click on add, it's going to bring you to your computer files. You just find the logo you want to add, upload it, and then you save it. And that's branding. That's how easy it is to set up branding for Stripe. Again, this doesn't brand your actual portal here within Stripe. It just, anything that's customer facing that Stripe does, whether it's email receipts or hosted invoices, all those things, this is what they'll see. Refund notifications, all that. It's all branded with however you set it up here. So because this is all email centric, once we go over into emails here, this is real easy. Basically, emails, we want to set this up. I think I mentioned this earlier, either in this or a previous video, but we definitely want to use Stripe for email notifications. It's the easiest way to do this. Again, the whole point of WP Simple Pay course is to show you the simplest, quickest way to get your website set up to start accepting payments either for one-off products, one-off service payments, subscription service payments, or whatever the case is. but the simplest, easiest way to do it with the lowest amount of effort, the lowest amount of setup, the lowest amount of work that you have to do to make sure it's ready to go. Okay, so that's why I personally use Stripe's email notifications. So email receipts settings, I believe this is turned off by default, but you just have to go into customer emails under the business settings and then just click on successful payments and refunds. You check those so customers will get emails using the branding that you just previously set up down here in branding. So your emails will look like this when they go out to the customer, very detailed, all the information that they need to know, whether it's been a new purchase or a cancellation, has your contact information on it, your support contact information up, which you've set up under business settings. Hopefully you've set up under business settings. I've asked you to do that several times because we're not going into that in this video or in this training. But yeah, so that's emails and branding. That was real easy. All you got to do is turn them on, and I highly recommend using them. That way notifications are going out and your customers are getting notifications. So let's just click over here. So we did emails, we did branding, we went through the test account. API keys, we talked about that as well. I showed you where to get those API keys. Let me jump back over to API keys one more time. There are two keys. There is basically a public key and a secret key, but you don't want to share these with anybody. You don't ever want people to see these. This is why it's redacted here by default. So you want to keep these private, keep these secure. But basically, you just copy these two keys, and then when you click on Reveal Test Key Token, it'll show it to you. You just copy it, and we'll, again, in a future video, I think it's in Module 4, we do the actual integration between Stripe and WP Simple Pay, where we just basically put in our API keys. And I'll show you how to do that. So this is literally the connection. These two tokens, these two keys, and then your actual public keys. Your actual live keys, because again we're in test data here, but these are actually what makes the connection between your website, WP Simple Pay, and Stripe, and makes all this magic work together. Just these two or these four tokens. So that's how cool it is to use something like WP Simple Pay, whereas before you'd have to go through. Let's see if I can pull up some documentation here and show you what it would look like. So if you wanted to do, because I want to make sure that people understand the importance of WP Simple Pay. If you wanted to do checkout, right, there's a lot that you'd have to do to get this to work, right? And basically, you've got all this custom coding that you would have to do in order to make this work. There's certain tokens for certain aspects, right? So you've got all this billing information you'd have to set up and create, integrated checkout. So there's, depending on what type of code that you're using, these are the different functions here. So if you were going to do this without WP Simple Pay plugin, you'd have to figure out how to do all this and make it all work and set up all the code and do all that stuff. And if you're a dev, then that might be fine. But my guess is if you are, you're probably not watching this this course. But the nice thing about WP Simple Pay is they've already done all this. The whole plugin is built to integrate with Stripe. So they've already taken care of all this integration, all this coding, all this connection, everything. And then all you have to do, again, is drop in these tokens or these keys into the plugin where they go, and that connects that plugin to your Stripe account. That way you get paid anytime processing goes on, but again, you don't have to do any of the hard coding or any of the hard setup of checkout and taking payment and order forms and all that stuff. So just to reiterate how simplistic this is and how quick it is for you to be successful with online payments. So that covers what we're going to go over in this video. Again, we did branding, emails, API keys, and test account, which hopefully we understand by now because I've been in test this whole time. So let's go on to the next video.